Hello 11th graders, welcome back to OnTrack. My name is Andrew, and in this module I'll be talking to you about creating a college list. So this is putting together the list of schools that come 12th grade year, come next year, you're going to actually apply to, or at least putting together a larger list of schools that you can then start narrowing down at the end of your 11th grade and going into your 12th grade year, because you don't have to decide right now early in your 11th grade year, these are the exact 5 or 6 schools I'm going to apply to. Instead, you can research a whole bunch of schools. You could have a list that's 15, 20, 25 schools right now that you're interested in. And then as the year goes on and you do more research, you start narrowing that down and getting it under 10 into maybe like the 6 to 10 range that you actually want to apply to. But right now, you have the freedom to just sort of look around. And it all starts, as I said, with research. You want to do as much research as possible to get as much information as possible, because you don't want to just say, all right, I'll apply to these 5 schools that I've heard of, because they might not even have the majors that you're interested in or other things that you think you really need for a college that you're going to go to. Because throughout this process, as you're looking at schools, as you're eventually applying to them, the key for you should be finding schools that you think will be a good fit for you. That's a term that we're going to use often, fit, because we want something that you feel fits for you both academically, financially, as far as being able to pay for it, socially, because especially if you're going away to school, you want to go to a school where if you're going to be there for 4 or more years, if you're going to get an advanced degree, that you're going to feel comfortable going to as a person socially, along with the academics and the financial aspects of it as well. So again, it's so important to do that research and try and start to feel out what schools might be a good fit for you. So how do you start the research? Well, tying it back to that module that earlier in 11th grade where I talked about researching colleges either through the Big Future website or through the colleges' websites themselves. That's a great place to get started. And again, if you need a refresher on that, go back to that module. It's really good to, whether you're using Big Future or any of the other websites that are similar, like Peterson's or Princeton Review or FastWeb, whatever it might be for your college search, to be able to search a bunch of different colleges. Make sure you're signing up an account so that you can save those schools you looked at, make notes about them, make sure, okay, they'll allow you to create a list and say, all right, these are the 5 schools that I know I'm interested in. I looked at these couple schools and I don't want to put them on my list because I know I'm not interested. But beyond using those websites and saving things that way, save them somewhere else as well, whether it's writing in a notebook or writing on your computer or your phone, wherever it may be, putting notes about the schools that you researched and why you might be interested in. Try and put that in a second place as well, just in case you maybe forget your username and password or something for the website that you're using, so that you have a variety of options to be able to go and look at that information that you've gained from your research. So when it comes to this research, what should you be looking for at these schools? Well, you should be looking at their GPA, their median GPA and SAT and ACT scores. And even though you probably haven't taken your SAT or ACTs yet, it's still good to see, okay, these are the scores that most students who go to this school get. So these are the scores, if I want to go to this school, that I'm going to have to try and get for myself when I take those tests. And also along with that, you'll usually see things about selectivity, which goes into, all right, that school it might be a very selective school if they only accept fewer than 25% of the students who apply there. But again, you want to be looking more at some other things as well. That selectivity number is more for the schools themselves than it is for you, because if you're applying to a bunch of different schools where your GPA and your SAT and ACT scores and the other parts of your resume are above and beyond what most students are who go there, then you can be pretty comfortable knowing you'll probably get into that school. So that's really what you're looking at when you're researching these schools. Really important is to look at the majors offered, especially if you know this is what I want to go to school for as far as a major, or at least I have a grouping of majors that I know I want to do one of those. And if you look at a school, even if it seems like a school that would be great for you, and then you see they don't offer your major at all or any of the majors you're interested in, it's probably not a good school for you to pick. So keep that in mind. Also, tuition, financial aid availability. So not just tuition, because obviously as we talked about and as we'll talk about later, state schools are probably going to be cheaper tuition-wise, but you might not be able to get much financial aid, scholarships, grants, depending on the school. Whereas a private school that's really expensive but gives out need-based scholarships or grants or tries to meet the need as much as possible when it comes to the students who are going there, that can be very helpful if you're someone from a background where you think, okay, I'm probably going to need to get a lot of help to be able to pay for school, where there might be those private schools out there that are going to be able to try to meet that need as much as possible. So look into that as well. Look into how is that school as far as meeting financial need. And then also, as I talked about, social life is important as well. So look at the location. Do you want to go to school in a city or in a suburb or in a rural area, in a quieter area, depending on what sort of your preferences are? And what is the campus life like at that? Maybe take a virtual tour of the campus. Those are often offered on the websites, on the college's website. So all things to keep in mind when you're researching schools. One last thing I want to go over before I do, the college keyword for this module is Elizabethtown College. Again, that's Elizabethtown College. One really important thing when it comes to putting together your list is you want to try to have at least 1 to 2 of all of these things: reach, match, and safety schools. So reach schools, those are the ones where their admissions criteria, and we have GPA and test scores down here, but there's other things that go into admissions criteria. But say their GPA, the average GPA for students who go there is a 3.7 or above, but your GPA is a 2.8. Well, then that school is probably going to be a reach for you. Now, there might be ways for you to get into that school because of other talents that you have, sports, or maybe you're really good at an instrument or something, and their music department needs someone with that instrument. There might be other ways for you to get in there, but based on their admissions criteria, that's probably going to be a reach. But then there's a match. So say you have a 2.8 and the average at the school that you're looking at is around a 2.8, and the other things that they're looking for in students, you feel like you meet those, that school is probably a match for you. And then there's safety. So those are schools, so say again you have a 2.8 and the average student is a 2.5 at that school that you're looking at. Well, then you should be thinking, okay, I should almost certainly get into this as long as the other parts of my admissions are really, or of my application for college is really good. I should be fine getting into this school, because you want to have those safety schools that you know you can get into when you're applying, but then also the match ones that you think might maybe be the best fit for you academically or otherwise. And then also those reach ones where you're thinking, hey, I might not get in here, but it would be really great. And if I did and was able to get scholarship money, it would be something that would be really great for me to go to that school. So I should apply to at least maybe one of those or so. And also keep in mind, as far as reach, match, and safety, don't just think of this in terms of academics, but also financial availability, as we talked about in the last slide as well. It's important that you have schools that you think, okay, I can probably, by applying there, get enough scholarships to be able to pay for this and be fine. That's a match, or maybe a safety. I know I'll get enough scholarships to pay for almost all of it. I might not love it academically, but I might be able to go for free. So that's a trade-off you have to consider. And then the reach, where I'll apply there, and if I get in, I'm probably not going to get the scholarship money. So would it be worth it to go into the debt I would need to pay to go to that school? So all things to consider. I know it's a lot to think about as an 11th grader, but these are the things you have to start thinking about when it applies to college, or when you're applying to college. And as always, if you have questions for us, you can send them to us at questions@uif.org. Thank you for joining me, and make sure you stay on track.